The day my world stopped at the altar. I still remember the way the sunlight hit the stained glass windows that morning. It made little rainbows dance across the white carpet in the church. I was standing there in my ivory gown, veil pinned just right, bouquet of white roses trembling slightly in my hands. Everyone was smiling at me. My mother, my brother, my cousins. The whole family had flown in from Atlanta, Chicago, New York. We were about to make it official. My name is Maya, 32 years old now. But back then, I believed in forever the way only a woman standing at the altar can. We're a black family. Old money on my mother's side, new hustle on my father's. Granddaddy built a chain of funeral homes across the South after coming up from nothing in Mississippi. Daddy turned that quiet legacy into luxury real estate, high-rises in downtown Atlanta, waterfront condos in Miami. Mama ran the family foundation, gave scholarships, hosted galas. We weren't flashy, but we were solid, always had been. The wedding was supposed to be elegant, not over the top, just beautiful. Ivory and gold, a string quartet, a private dinner at the family estate afterward. And yes, there was a dowry, not the old country kind everyone whispers about. In our circles, we call it the foundation fund, a 7-figure transfer, cash, stocks, a paid-off condo in Buckhead, placed in trust for the new couple. It was tradition. My parents did it for my older sister. Her husband respected it. We thought Darius would too. Darius Jackson, 6'3", smooth voice, MBA from Wharton, worked in private equity. He carried himself like he belonged in any room. When he asked for my hand, he looked Daddy in the eye and said, "Sir, I'm not here to take from this family. I'm here to build with it." We believed him. I believed him most of all. The organ started playing. The doors opened. I walked down the aisle on Daddy's arm. Every step felt like floating. I saw Darius's side of the church, his mother dabbing her eyes, his brother standing tall as best man. Then I reached the front, and he wasn't there. The minister smiled at first, thinking it was nerves. A few minutes passed, then 10, then 20. My phone was in the bridal suite. Someone brought it to me. No calls, no texts, just one email from his lawyer, time-stamped 47 minutes earlier. Ms. Maya Thompson, Mr. Darius Jackson has withdrawn from the marriage agreement. All prior financial arrangements are null and void at his discretion. The transfer has already been executed per his instructions. This concludes the matter. I read it twice. The words didn't change. He took the foundation fund, all of it, $7.2 million, wired out at 9:14 a.m., while I was having my makeup touched up, while my mother was pinning flowers in my hair, while my father was adjusting his cufflinks and telling me how proud he was. The church went quiet. Not the dramatic kind of quiet you see in movies, the real kind. The kind where you hear your own heartbeat too loud. My mother walked up first. She didn't cry. She just placed both hands on my face and whispered, "We're still standing, baby. We're still standing." Daddy didn't say a word. He just turned and walked out to the parking lot. I later found out he sat in his Bentley for 20 minutes, staring straight ahead, not moving, not speaking. My brother Jamal, 2 years younger, built like a linebacker, clenched his fists so hard his knuckles turned white. He wanted to drive to Darius's penthouse right then, but Mama stopped him. "Not today," she said. "Today we protect Maya." The guests started leaving. Some hugged me, some avoided my eyes. A few whispered he played the long game. He knew the money was coming. I stood there in that dress, veil still on, feeling like the room was slowly draining of air. But something else was happening inside me. Not screaming, not breaking. A switch. A quiet, cold click. He thought he had won the biggest payday of his life. He thought I would cry, hide, disappear. He thought wrong. Because what he didn't know, what no one in that church knew, was that the game wasn't over. It was just beginning, and I was about to rewrite the ending. But how does a woman who just got left at the altar turn pain into power? How do you take back what someone stole when they think they're already gone? Stay with me. The next part is where we stopped hurting and started planning. The family we built, the trust we gave. Let me take you back before that morning in the church, before the roses wilted on the pews, before the string quartet packed up their instruments without playing a single note. I grew up in a big red brick house on Peachtree Road in Atlanta, the kind of place that looks quiet from the street but holds generations inside. My grandfather, Granddaddy Elijah, started it all. He came up from sharecropping in the Delta, moved to the city in the 60s, and opened his first funeral home with money he saved from 2 jobs and sheer will. By the time I was born, there were 7 locations across Georgia and Alabama. Quiet money, respectable money, the kind that doesn't shout. My father, Marcus Thompson, took that foundation and built higher. He went from burying folks with dignity to developing the skyline. Luxury condos in Midtown, mixed-use towers in Buckhead, a waterfront resort in Savannah that still wins awards. He taught us early, wealth is a tool, not a trophy. Use it to lift people up, not to look down. Mama, Dr. Evelyn Thompson, never let us forget where we came from. She has a PhD in education, but chose to run the family foundation instead. Full-ride scholarships for kids from underserved neighborhoods, after-school programs, annual galas where the tickets cost what most people make in a month, but every dollar went back into the community. She'd say, "We don't just succeed for ourselves. We succeed so others can breathe easier." Then there's my brother Jamal, 2 years younger, 6'4" now, broad shoulders like Daddy, but with Mama's quick smile. He played college ball at Georgia Tech, got drafted late, played 2 seasons in the league before a knee injury sent him home. Now he runs operations for Daddy's real estate firm. Protective, loyal, the kind of brother who'd fight the world for you and then hug you after. Me? I was the dreamer who became the planner. Degree in finance from Spelman, MBA from Emory. I worked in private wealth management for 5 years, helping old Atlanta families protect what they built. Then I came home to run the foundation with Mama. I loved the work. Loved seeing first-generation college kids walk across stages their parents never got to see. We met at a foundation gala 2 years earlier. Black tie, live jazz. He was there representing his firm, some boutique private equity group downtown. Tall, tailored suit. Voice like warm bourbon. He walked up during cocktail hour, held out his hand and said, "Maya Thompson, I've been reading about your scholarship numbers. Impressive doesn't cover it." I laughed, nervous, flattered. We talked for an hour straight. By the end of the night, he had my number. By the end of the month, he had my heart. He fits so easily into our world. Sunday dinners at the house, golf with Daddy, late-night talks with Jamal about business and legacy. Mama watched him closely at first. One evening after he left, she pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Baby girl, does he see you, or does he see the name? There's a difference." I told her he saw me. I believed it. I wanted to believe it. He proposed on my 31st birthday. Private rooftop dinner overlooking the city, rose petals, a 4-carat emerald-cut diamond that caught every light in Atlanta. When he got down on one knee, he said, "Maya, I don't just want to marry you. I want to build something unbreakable with you, with your family, with everything you stand for." Tears in my eyes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The engagement party was at the family estate in Buckhead. 300 people, champagne flowing. Daddy made a toast. "To my daughter and the man who promises to cherish her the way we do." Darius raised his glass, smiled that perfect smile, and looked me right in the eyes when he said, "I will." We started planning the wedding immediately. Smaller than the engagement party. Intimate, meaningful, 200 guests max, ivory and gold color scheme, a string quartet playing classics, and the foundation fund. 7.2 million, already in escrow, ready to transfer the morning of the ceremony. It was tradition, security, a head start for the next chapter. Darius asked about it more than once, casually, over dinner. "How does the transfer work exactly? Is it wired or check? Any conditions on it?" I answered openly. It was our future after all. I thought he was being practical, a planner, like me. Looking back, those questions were breadcrumbs. Tiny red flags I stepped right over, because love makes everything look rose-colored. The night before the wedding, he came by the house late. We sat on the back patio under the string lights, crickets humming, city glow in the distance. He took both my hands and said, "Tomorrow, Maya, tomorrow we become one. No more separate lives. Everything we have becomes ours." I rested my head on his shoulder, closed my eyes, felt safe. He kissed my forehead, whispered, "I love you." Then he left. That was the last time he ever said those words to my face. The next morning I woke up to birds singing and sunlight pouring through my bedroom windows. Mama was already up, helping the stylist pin my veil. Jamal was outside directing the florist. Daddy was in his study, reviewing the final transfer instructions one last time. I stood in front of the full-length mirror, ivory gown hugging every curve, makeup flawless, eyes bright with hope. My phone buzzed. A text from Darius. Stuck in traffic, running a little late. See you at the altar, beautiful. I smiled, texted back. Hurry, I'm ready. I had no idea in the time it took me to read that message. He was already gone. Wired the money, cleared his accounts, left the city, and left me standing there in white, with nothing but questions and a broken promise. But what I didn't know in that moment, what none of us knew, was that he had left something behind. A trail, a mistake, a door he forgot to lock. Keep listening, because the next part is when the hurt turned into something sharper, something deliberate, something unstoppable. The silence that turned into steel. The church emptied slowly that afternoon, like a tide pulling back from the shore. Guests hugged us one by one, awkward, careful hugs. They whispered, "We're so sorry, and he didn't deserve you, and God has something better." But the words felt thin, like smoke. They disappeared the second they left someone's mouth. I stayed in the bridal suite for almost an hour after everyone left, still in the gown, veil pinned.
It's okay, my dear.
Makeup perfect,
I'm
except
here.
for the 2
I
black
know.
streaks
Thank
running
you.
down my cheeks.
Always.
I didn't sob.
It's okay, my dear.
I just sat on the velvet chair and stared at the
Thank
wall,
you.
trying to
Always.
understand how love could vanish
okay,
in
my dear.
47 minutes.
I'm here. I know.
Mama came in
Thank you.
first. She didn't
Always.
knock, just opened the door, stepped inside, and locked it behind her. She walked over, knelt in front of me, her cream silk dress pooling on the floor, and took both my hands. Her palms were warm, steady. She looked up at me and said the only thing that felt real in that moment. "Maya, he took money. He didn't take us. He didn't take you. You hear me?" I nodded, but inside something was cracking open, not breaking, opening. Daddy came in next. He stood in the doorway for a long time, didn't speak, just watched us. Then he walked over, placed one hand on my shoulder, the other on Mama's. His voice was low, rough, like gravel under tires. I already called the bank. The transfer went through at 9:14, irreversible. They confirmed it. Jamal stepped in behind him, face tight, eyes red. He didn't come close, just leaned against the wall, arms folded, breathing hard through his nose. I could see the muscle jumping in his jaw. Nobody yelled, nobody screamed. That wasn't how we handled pain in our family. We held it, we carried it, we waited until it told us what to do next. That night we drove home in silence, the same black Escalade that had brought me to the church hours earlier. Now it carried 4 people who felt 20 years older. The city lights blurred past the tinted windows. No one spoke. When we pulled into the driveway of the estate, the security lights came on automatically. The house looked the same. Big columns, manicured lawn, the fountain still running in the front circle. But it felt different, smaller somehow. We went straight to the family room.
It's okay, my
No
dear.
one changed clothes.
I'm here.
Mama
I
kicked
know.
off her heels.
Thank you.
Daddy loosened his
Always.
tie. Jamal
It's
sat on
okay,
the
my
ottoman
dear.
like he was
I'm
ready to
here.
stand up and
I know.
fight at any
Thank you.
second. I stayed in the
Always.
gown. I couldn't
It's
bring
okay,
myself
my
to take it
dear.
off yet.
I'm here.
Daddy spoke
I know.
first.
Thank you.
"We need to know exactly what he
Always.
took and where it
It's
went."
okay, my dear.
Mama nodded.
I'm here.
"I already have
I
the
know.
escrow
Thank
statements.
you.
Everything was in order
Always.
this morning. The lawyer
It's
wired
okay,
it
my
on
dear.
Darius's
I'm
instruction.
here.
No
I
red
know.
flags,
Thank
no
you.
hold, clean.
Always.
Dangerously
It's okay,
quiet.
my dear.
So he
I'm
planned
here.
this,
I know.
down to the
Thank
minute.
you.
I looked at my
Always.
brother. For the first
It's
time
okay,
since the
my dear.
altar, I
I'm
felt
here.
something sharper
I
than
know.
hurt,
Thank
a
you.
spark. I
Always.
said, "He didn't just
It's
plan the
okay, my
money,
dear.
he planned the
I'm here.
exit."
I know.
We sat with
Thank
that for a
you.
minute. The
Always.
grandfather clock in the hall
It's
ticked
okay,
louder
my
than
dear.
usual.
I'm here.
Then I stood up,
I know.
still in
Thank you.
white, still veiled.
Always.
I walked over to the
It's
desk
okay,
where
my
Daddy
dear.
kept his
I'm
laptop,
here.
opened
I
it,
know. Thank
logged
you.
into the family's secure
Always.
portal, the one we used for foundation business, real estate holdings, trusts. I had full access, always had. I pulled up Darius's profile, the one we ran background checks on before the engagement. Everything looked perfect then. Clean credit, no liens, no judgments. But I remembered something he'd said once, casually, over dinner. "I keep most of my personal stuff in a separate LLC. Keeps things tidy, tax advantages." I typed the name he'd mentioned once in passing. Jackson Horizon Holdings LLC. It popped up. active, registered in Delaware, standard for privacy. But the address wasn't a P.O. box. It was a real property, a modern farmhouse-style estate, 20 acres, just outside Alpharetta, purchased 14 months ago, financed with a private mortgage. And the last payment cleared 6 days before the wedding. The amount of the final payment exactly matching the escrow transfer amount we'd set aside, down to the cent. I turned the screen toward them. No one spoke at first. Mama whispered, "Lord have mercy." Daddy leaned in, eyes narrowing. "That's not coincidence." Jamal stood up slowly. "That's evidence." I didn't feel triumph. Not yet. Just clarity, like fog lifting off a road you've been driving blind on. He hadn't disappeared clean. He'd left a trail. A house, a deed, a place he probably thought was safe, hidden behind layers of LLCs and shell companies. But we weren't strangers to real estate. We knew how titles worked, how liens worked, how quiet foreclosures worked when someone stopped paying. And we knew lawyers, good ones, the kind who didn't advertise. I closed the laptop, looked at my family. My voice came out steady, calmer than I felt. We don't go to the police yet. We don't make noise. We don't post on social media. We don't cry in public. I paused, took a breath. We take back what's ours, quietly, completely. And when it's done, he'll understand what it feels like to lose everything you thought you stole. Mama reached for my hand, squeezed it. Daddy nodded once. Jamal cracked his knuckles, soft, deliberate. That night, for the first time since the church, I took off the veil, hung the gown in the back of the closet, and slept. Not peacefully, but deeply, because tomorrow we started moving. But where did the money really go after the wire? Was the house empty, or was he there, thinking he'd won? Keep listening. The next part is when we stopped asking questions and started answering them. The first steps we took in the dark. The next morning the house felt different, not loud, not frantic, just purposeful. Like the air itself had decided we weren't going to stay broken. I woke up early, too early. Sun wasn't even up yet. I slipped out of bed, still wearing one of Daddy's old t-shirts and some yoga pants, bare feet on the cool hardwood floor. I walked downstairs to the kitchen. The lights were already on low. Mama was there. She had coffee brewing, 2 mugs waiting. She didn't say good morning. She just poured and handed me one. We sat at the island counter. No words for the first few minutes, just steam rising between us. Then she spoke, soft, like she was talking to herself as much as to me. "I called Aunt Renee last night. She's flying in from Chicago this afternoon. She's bringing her friend, Clarence, the one who handles asset recovery for high net worth families. Discreet, no headlines." I nodded slowly. Aunt Renee was Mama's older sister, retired federal judge. She didn't play when it came to family. And Clarence, I'd heard stories. Quiet man, ex-FBI, now private. The kind who found things people didn't want found. Daddy came in next, still in his robe, hair not combed, eyes tired but sharp. He looked at both of us and said only one thing. "I already spoke to our real estate attorney, Lauren Hayes. She's pulling every public record on Jackson Horizon Holdings. By noon, we'll know the exact status of that property. Taxes, mortgage, any liens, everything." Jamal walked in last. He'd clearly been up for hours. Gym shorts, sweat still on his forehead. He'd run 5 miles in the dark just to burn off whatever was boiling inside him. He poured coffee, black, no sugar. Took a long sip, then looked straight at me. "I got a contact at the title company we use for closings. Friend of a friend. He's checking if the deed's been shopped around, if Darius tried to flip it quick, or refinance, or put it in someone else's name." I set my mug down. My voice came out steady, calmer than I expected. "Thank you, all of you, but we do this my way." They all looked at me. No one interrupted. I don't want revenge that looks like revenge. I don't want court battles on the news. I don't want people saying, "Poor Maya got played." I want him to wake up one day and realize the life he built on our money isn't his anymore. And I want it done so clean, he can't even point a finger without looking guilty. Mama reached across the counter, squeezed my wrist. "That's my girl." We spent the rest of the morning in Daddy's study. Laptops open, legal pads out, coffee refilled 3 times. First thing we confirmed, The Alpharetta property was still titled to Jackson Horizon Holdings LLC. No sale pending, no new mortgage. Property taxes current, paid from an account we traced back to one of Darius's personal checking accounts, the same one the foundation funds had been wired into. Lauren Hayes emailed the full title report by 11:47 a.m. 22 pages, photos attached. Modern farmhouse, 6 bedrooms, pool, guest house, 4-car garage, appraised last year at $4.8 million. Mortgage balance, $2.1 million. Monthly payment, $14,800. Jamal whistled low. He bought this thinking our money would cover the rest forever. I stared at the photos. White siding, black shutters, big wraparound porch. It looked peaceful, like a place someone would raise a family, build memories, live quietly. He'd planned to live there, with someone else maybe, or alone. Didn't matter. What mattered was he used our future to pay for his. Aunt Renee and Clarence arrived just after lunch. Private car from the airport. No fanfare. Aunt Renee hugged me first, long tight, then stepped back and looked me in the eyes. You look tired, baby, but you don't look beaten. Good. Clarence was quieter. Gray suit, no tie, handshake firm. He didn't offer condolences, just got straight to it. Tell me what you want, not what the law allows, what you want. I didn't hesitate. I want the house, the cars if they're in his name, any account still linked. I want him to lose what he stole and then some, but I want it legal, silent, and final. He nodded once, opened his briefcase, pulled out a single sheet of paper, a simple outline. Step 1, we confirm he's in default or near default on something. Mortgage, taxes, HOA fees, anything. Step 2, we place a quiet lien through a shell entity we control. Step 3, we wait for him to miss a payment, or we accelerate if we can prove fraud in the original financing. Step 4, foreclosure or forced sale. We bid through proxies. We win. Title transfers. He's out. Mama asked the question we all had. How long? Clarence looked around the room. 3 months if he's smart and stays current. 6 weeks if he panics and tries to sell. Less if we find leverage. I felt it then. Not joy, not anger. Just momentum. Like a train starting to move. Slow at first, then unstoppable. We spent the rest of the day mapping it out. Who would handle what to say if anyone asked, how to keep it off social media, off the gossip blogs, off the family group chat. By evening the plan had shape, not perfect, but solid. I went to bed that night with my phone on silent. No more checking for messages from him. Instead, I opened my notes app, typed one line. Day 1, we began. But what we didn't know yet, what Clarence would uncover the very next week, was that Darius hadn't disappeared alone. He had help, someone close, someone we trusted. And when that truth came out, it changed everything. Keep listening, because the next part is when the mask really slipped. The name we never expected to see. 3 weeks had passed since the church. 3 weeks of quiet phone calls, encrypted emails, late-night meetings in Daddy's study. The house felt like a command center now. Coffee cups never stayed empty long. Legal pads filled with notes we crossed out and rewrote. We were careful, always careful. Clarence had been digging, not the loud kind of digging you see on TV, the silent kind. Bank records through subpoenas we got quietly. Flight manifests, credit card trails. He didn't rush. He just followed the money. One Tuesday evening, he asked to come over. Not a video call. In person. That alone told us it was big. He arrived just after 7. Same gray suit. Same calm face. He carried a thin leather folder. Nothing flashy. We gathered in the family ring. Fireplace on low. Curtains drawn. Mama poured everyone water. No one drank. Clarence sat down, opened the folder, pulled out one single sheet. A printed email chain. Time-stamped 2 weeks before the wedding. He slid it across the coffee table toward me. I picked it up. My hands were steady. I read the subject line first. Final arrangements. Alpharetta property and transfer. Sender Darius Jackson. 2. The recipient line was what stopped my heart. To Keisha.thompsonjr@gmail.com. Keisha. My cousin Keisha. Jamal's twin sister on Daddy's side. No, my first cousin. Mama's sister's daughter. The one who grew up in our house some summers. The one who called me sis since we were kids. The one who stood next to me at every family barbecue, Every graduation, every holiday. The one who cried with me when Granddaddy passed. The one who helped plan half the wedding, picked the flowers, chose the playlist, even helped Mama with the guest list. Keisha. I read the body of the email slowly. Every word felt heavier than the last. Darius, everything is set. The LLC is clean. Title still in Horizon Holdings. I've been making the interest payments from my account, so nothing flags. Once the foundation wire hits, you clear the mortgage balance and we're free. I'll meet you at the property the day after. We leave together. New names, new life, just like we planned. Don't text. Burner only. See you soon. K. There was an attachment. A one-way ticket confirmation. Atlanta to Lisbon. 2 seats. Business class. Booked under aliases. Date, the day after our wedding. I set the paper down. The room was so quiet. I could hear the clock ticking in the hallway. Jamal stood up first, walked to the window, stared out at nothing. His shoulders rose and fell, like he was trying not to break something. Mama whispered one word. Why? Daddy didn't move, just looked at Clarence. How sure are you this is real? Clarence didn't flinch. IP traces to her apartment in Midtown. The burner number pings off the same tower as her personal phone. The email account was created 6 months ago on a device registered to her. The ticket payment came from a prepaid card she bought with cash at a CVS on Peachtree. Security footage matches her height, build, coat she wore to Thanksgiving last year. No doubt, no maybe, just facts. I felt it then, not rage exploding, something deeper, a slow, cold sinking, like the ground opening under me, and I was too tired to scream. Keisha hadn't just known. She'd helped, planned, lied to my face, hugged me at the rehearsal dinner, and whispered, "You deserve this happiness, Maya," while she was counting down the hours until she stole it. I looked at my family. Mama's eyes were wet but steady. Daddy's jaw was set so tight I thought it might crack. Jamal turned from the window. His voice came out rough, low, like it hurt to speak. She was family. I nodded once. She still is. The words tasted bitter, but true. We didn't yell that night. We didn't call her. We didn't drive to her apartment. We sat with the truth until it stopped burning and started hardening. Clarence spoke next, soft, professional. This changes the leverage. She's not just a bystander. She's a co-conspirator, fraud, conspiracy to defraud. If we push, we can tie her to the wire transfer, but pushing means exposure, court, headlines, or, he let the word hang, I finished it for him, or we use it quietly. We don't need to destroy her life. We need to take back what they both took. Clarence nodded. That's still possible. Faster now. She's the weak link. If she thinks we know, she'll panic, and panic makes people sloppy. We decided right then. No confrontation yet. No phone call. No text. We let her think everything was still perfect. Let her believe Darius had gotten away clean. Let her keep making those small interest payments on the house. Keep the mortgage current. Keep the lights on. Because the longer they felt safe, the more time we had to close every door. I went to bed that night with the email printout folded on my nightstand. I didn't cry. I didn't pray for answers. I just stared at the ceiling and thought about the girl I used to share secrets with. The one who braided my hair when we were 10. The one who promised we'd always have each other's backs. She broke that promise. For money. For a man. For a life she thought she could steal. And now, she was about to learn what happens when you steal from people who never forget how to build. But the real turning point wasn't finding the email. It was what happened 2 days later when Keisha showed up at our gate, unannounced, smiling, carrying a bakery box like nothing had happened. She rang the bell and asked to come in. Keep listening, because the next part is when the mask fell completely and we saw exactly who she'd become. When the enemy knocks on your own door. 2 days after we saw that email, the gate buzzer rang at 11:17 in the morning. I was in the kitchen making tea, something normal, something small to keep my hands busy. Mama was upstairs on a call with Aunt Renee. Daddy was in his office reviewing the latest title update. Jamal had stepped out to meet Clarence at a coffee shop downtown. More documents coming in. The security camera feed popped up on the kitchen tablet. There she was, Keisha, standing at the gate in a cream linen dress, oversized sunglasses, hair pulled back neat. She held a white bakery box tied with gold ribbon, smiling like it was any Sunday, like nothing had shattered our family 3 weeks ago. Her voice came through the speaker, bright, familiar, careful. "Hey, it's me. I brought those almond croissants Mama likes. Can I come in? I've been worried about you, Maya." I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the gate release. For 1 second, I thought about letting her stand there forever. But then I remembered Clarence's words. Panic makes people sloppy. Letting her in might make her talk, might make her slip, might give us the last piece we needed. I pressed the button. The gate swung open slowly. She walked up the driveway like she still belonged here. I met her at the front door, still in my sweatshirt and leggings. No makeup, hair in a messy bun. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I just opened the door and stepped aside. She hugged me before I could move. Quick, tight, the kind of hug she'd given me 1,000 times. She smelled like vanilla and that expensive perfume she always wore. Then she pulled back and looked at me, really looked. Her eyes searched my face like she was checking for cracks. "You okay, sis?" she asked softly. "I've been calling, texting. You haven't answered. I get it, but I needed to see you." I didn't answer right away. I just led her into the living room. She set the bakery box on the coffee table, sat on the edge of the sofa like she was a guest for the first time. I sat across from her, in Daddy's big leather chair, legs crossed, hands folded in my lap. She started talking fast, nervous energy spilling out. "I know it's been rough. The whole thing with Darius. It's awful. I still can't believe he did that. To you, to all of us. I keep thinking maybe there's something we can do, like go after him legally. I talked to a friend who knows a PI. If you want, I can." I cut her off, quiet, calm. "Keisha." She stopped, looked at me, really looked. I reached into the side pocket of the chair, pulled out the printed email chain, the one Clarence had given us. I unfolded it slowly, set it on the table between us, face up. She glanced down. Her smile froze, then faded, then disappeared completely. I watched her eyes move across the words. The color drained from her cheeks. Her hands started trembling just a little. She tried to laugh. Small, weak sound. "Maya, where did you get this?" I didn't answer. I just waited. She looked up at me, eyes wide, pleading. "It's not what it looks like. I swear. He tricked me. He said he was in trouble, needed help moving some money. I didn't know it was the foundation fund. I thought it was his money, business stuff. I was trying to help a friend." I tilted my head slightly, still quiet. She kept going, words tumbling faster. "And the ticket, that was just, he said we were meeting to sign papers, to transfer something. I didn't know he was leaving the country. I didn't know he was leaving you at the altar. Maya, you have to believe me." I leaned forward, voice low, steady. "You made the last mortgage payment on the Alpharetta house 3 days ago from your personal account, $14,800. You've been covering the interest since he disappeared, to keep it quiet, to keep it safe, for both of you." Her mouth opened, closed, no sound came out. I continued. "You booked the Lisbon tickets. You created the burner email. You lied to my face at the rehearsal dinner, told me I looked beautiful, told me I deserved happiness, while you were counting hours until you could run with him." Tears started down her cheeks now, real ones, or at least they looked real. "Maya, I love you. You're like my sister. I got caught up. He made me feel special, important, like I mattered outside of being the cousin. I was stupid. I was wrong. But I never meant to hurt you like this." I let the silence stretch, long enough for her words to echo back to her. Then I said the only thing that felt true. "You didn't just hurt me, Keisha. You helped him steal from my parents, from the foundation, from kids who were counting on those scholarships. You helped him turn our trust into his escape plan." She sobbed now, quiet, shoulders shaking. I didn't move to comfort her. I didn't reach out. Instead, I asked one question. "Where is he now?" She looked up, eyes red, mascara running. He's still in the country, not far, a cabin in North Carolina, Blue Ridge Mountains. He's waiting for me to join him. He thinks I'm coming next week, after things cool down." I nodded once, slow. "Thank you." She reached for my hand. I pulled back, gently, but firm. "Don't," I said, not angry, just final. She stood up, wiped her face with the back of her hand, picked up her purse, left the bakery box, sitting there like an apology no one wanted. At the door she turned, voice small. "What happens now?" I looked at her, really looked at the girl I used to know. "What happens now is you go home. You don't call him, you don't warn him, you don't run. Because if you do, we'll know. And then it stops being quiet." She nodded, once, then walked out. The gate closed behind her with a soft click. I sat there for a long time after she left, staring at the croissants. Then I picked up my phone, texted Jamal one line. She talked. "North Carolina, cabin, Blue Ridge." His reply came in seconds. On it. That afternoon the plan shifted. Faster. Tighter. Clarence got the location coordinates from Keisha's phone pings. Ones she didn't know we could still access. Daddy called our mountain property manager, the one who handled our cabin rentals in the same area. Quiet favor. No questions asked. We didn't need to chase him. We didn't need guns or drama. We needed time and pressure. Because while he sat in that cabin thinking he was hidden, we were already moving on the house. The mortgage company received an anonymous tip about possible fraud in the original loan docs, a discrepancy in the income statements Darius submitted. Enough to trigger a review, enough to freeze any sale, enough to start the clock on default. And Keisha, she stayed silent, for now, but the real question hanging in the air that night, the one none of us said out loud, was whether she would crack and warn him anyway, or whether she'd finally understand what she'd helped destroy. Keep listening, because the next part is when we closed in, and the house he thought was his started slipping away for good. The house that started to crumble. After Keisha left that day, the house felt heavier. Not because of anger, not because of tears, just because the truth had finally sat down with us and refused to leave. We didn't chase her out the door. We didn't call the police. We didn't even tell the rest of the family yet. We just closed ranks tighter, like a circle of hands holding fast in a storm. Clarence was already on the phone before her car cleared the gate. He spoke low, quick. Her phone's still pinging local towers. She's heading home. No calls to him yet. We'll know the second she does. Daddy looked at me across the coffee table. The bakery box still sat there, untouched croissants going stale. He asked the only question that mattered right then. "What do you need from me, Maya?" I answered without thinking twice. Time, and the ability to move fast when the moment comes. He nodded once, then picked up his phone and made one call to Lauren Hayes, our real estate attorney. He put it on speaker. "Lauren, it's Marcus. We have confirmation of co-conspiracy. Family member. We need to accelerate on the Alpharetta property." Quietly. "Can we place the lien today?" Lauren's voice came through clear, professional, no surprise. "We can file a notice of claim under fraudulent conveyance statutes. The foundation funds were used to satisfy the mortgage. We have the wire trace, we have the email chain. I'll draft it now. We serve it to the mortgage servicer tomorrow morning. They'll freeze any equity release or refinance attempts. He won't be able to sell without our consent, or without court intervention." Jamal leaned forward. "What about the cabin, the one in North Carolina?" Lauren paused. "That's trickier. If he's renting short-term, cash, no paper trail, we can't touch it directly. But if we can prove he's using proceeds from the fraud to maintain it, we can add it to the asset list later. First priority is the big asset, the house." We agreed. The house first. The house he bought with our money. The house he thought would be his safe place. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the back patio, under the same string lights, where Darius had kissed my forehead the night before the wedding. The crickets were loud. The city lights glowed soft in the distance. I wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and stared at the pool water rippling in the breeze. I thought about the life I'd imagined. Lazy Sunday mornings. Coffee on that big porch in Alpharetta. Maybe kids one day. Maybe laughter echoing off those white walls. Now that house belonged to someone who lied to get it, and someone else who helped him lie. Around 2 a.m. my phone lit up. A text from an unknown number. No name. Just one line. "I'm sorry. I won't say anything. Please don't ruin me too. Keisha." I read it twice, then deleted it. No reply, no mercy. Just silence. The next morning, Lauren filed the notice. By noon, the mortgage company had it. They sent a formal letter to the LLC address, Darius's registered agent, a polite but firm heads up. Potential cloud on title due to alleged fraudulent transfer of funds used in payoff. All transactions frozen pending review. He would get that letter soon, or his lawyer would. Either way, the pressure was on. 2 days later, Clarence came back with more. He sat at our kitchen table this time, brought photos, printouts, a timeline. Darius had been spotted, not at the cabin, at a gas station 20 miles from it. Security cam footage, clear enough. Same walk, same black SUV he used to drive to our house for Sunday dinners. Clarence pointed to the date stamp. 3 days ago, he bought $87 in gas, paid cash, but the receipt shows a rewards card swipe first. Old habit. It's his. He's still in the area, not running yet. Jamal asked the question we all had. Why hasn't he bolted? Clarence shrugged. Arrogance, or he thinks Keisha's still coming. Or he's waiting to see if the house can be sold quick, once things quiet down. People like him, they don't believe the net is closing until it touches their neck. I looked at the photo. Darius standing at the pump. Cap pulled low, sunglasses on, but still him. Still the man who promised me forever. Something inside me shifted again. Not hate, not even sadness anymore. Just finality. That same afternoon, the mortgage company sent another update. Internal memo leaked to Lauren through a contact. Darius had called them, tried to refinance, tried to pull equity, wanted $800,000 cash out. Said he had a buyer lined up. They denied it, cited the fraud notice, told him to resolve the claim first. He hung up. No yelling, no threats, just silence on the line. But we knew he felt it now, the walls moving in. Keisha texted again that night, same unknown number. He's asking where I am. I haven't answered. I'm scared, Maya. What do I do? I stared at the screen for a long time, then typed one sentence, sent it, blocked the number. Tell him the truth, or don't. Either way, it's over. I didn't sleep much that night either, but when I did drift off, I dreamed of white siding, black shutters, a for sale sign in the yard, and no one living inside. The next week brought the first real crack. The HOA for the Alpharetta neighborhood sent a violation notice. Overgrown hedges, mailbox leaning, no one maintaining the property. They threatened fines, daily fines. Darius couldn't respond in person, couldn't hire a landscaper without risking exposure. So the fines started stacking. Small at first, then bigger. And every time a payment was missed, every time a notice went unanswered, the title clouded more. The value dropped, the escape hatch narrowed. We didn't celebrate, we didn't cheer, we just watched, quiet, patient, like people who know the tide is coming in. But the biggest moment came 10 days later. Lauren called at 8:42 p.m. Daddy put her on speaker again. He's defaulted, missed the last 2 mortgage payments. The servicer is accelerating the loan. Foreclosure proceedings start next month, unless he cures. And he can't cure, not without liquid cash he doesn't have anymore. I closed my eyes, let the words settle. The house he stole our future to buy was about to be sold at auction, and we were going to be there, quietly, through proxies, with clean money, our money. But right before the call ended, Lauren added one last thing, one more detail. He tried to transfer the title yesterday to a new LLC in Keisha's name. The room went still. He wanted to put it in her name, protect it, or maybe give it to her, as a last gift, or a last trap. Mama whispered he's trying to drag her down with him. I opened my eyes, voice calm, final. Let him try. The lien is already filed. The fraud claim covers any transfer after the wire date. It's tainted, all of it. Lauren confirmed. Exactly. The transfer was rejected. Title company flagged it. He's out of moves. We hung up. No one spoke for a long minute. Then Jamal said what we were all thinking. He's cornered now, and cornered animals do desperate things. I nodded, slow. Then we stay ready. Wasn't just about the house anymore. It was about whether he'd run or whether he'd try one last play. And if he did, we'd be waiting. Keep listening. The next part is when the auction date was set, and everything came down to one single bid. The day the auction hammer fell, the foreclosure notice arrived in the mail like any other piece of junk. Plain white envelope. No fanfare, just legal language printed in black and white. Public auction, Alpharetta property, formerly known as the Jackson Horizon Holdings Estate. Date set, 30 days from the notice. Starting bid, $3.2 million. enough to cover the mortgage balance, the fines, the back taxes, and a little extra for the lender's trouble. We received our copy through Lauren Hayes. She emailed it at 9:03 in the morning on a Thursday. Subject line, auction confirmed. We're in position. I opened the attachment at the kitchen table. Mama was beside me slicing fruit for breakfast. Daddy stood at the island, reading over my shoulder. Jamal was on speakerphone from his car. He'd just left a site visit. No one cheered, no high fives. We just read the date, circled it on the calendar hanging on the fridge, then went quiet again. Clarence had already explained how it would work. We wouldn't show up in person. No Thompsons walking into the courthouse steps with signs or cameras. No drama. We'd bid through a proxy company, one of the quiet firms we used for sensitive real estate deals. Clean funds. No direct link to our name. If we won, title would transfer through layers of paperwork. By the time anyone looked close, it would just be another corporate buyer, another flip, another quiet closing. But Darius, he might show up, or send someone, or try one last desperate bid with borrowed money. We didn't know. That uncertainty hung over every conversation for the next 4 weeks. Keisha went silent after my last text. No more messages, no calls. Her social media stayed dark. Stories off, posts paused. We watched from a distance. Her apartment lights still came on at night. Her car stayed in the garage. She wasn't running. Not yet. Clarence's team kept tabs on the cabin too. Darius was still there, spotted twice more, once at a local grocery store buying basics, once walking a trail alone. He looked thinner, beard growing in, no more sharp suits, just hoodies and jeans. A man waiting for a rescue that wasn't coming. The days ticked down slow. I started running again. Early mornings around the estate loop, pounding pavement to keep my mind steady. Mama cooked more than usual. Big pots of gumbo, collard greens, cornbread. Comfort food that filled the house with smells from my childhood. Daddy spent hours in his office reviewing numbers. Jamal drove up to North Georgia twice, scouting the area around the cabin, not to confront, just to know the terrain. We didn't talk about winning. We talked about being ready for whatever came after. Then the week before the auction, a small earthquake. Lauren called at 6:47 in the evening, voice tight. He filed an emergency motion to stay the foreclosure, claims the fraud allegation is baseless. Says the foundation funds were a gift to him personally. Attached affidavits from 2 witnesses. One is Keisha. The room froze. Jamal's voice crackled over speaker. She signed it? Lauren confirmed. Notarized yesterday. She swears under oath that you, Marcus and Evelyn, gave Darius verbal permission to use the funds as he saw fit. That it wasn't tied to the marriage. That Maya knew and agreed. Mama set her teacup down so hard, the saucer cracked. I felt the air leave my lungs. Not shock exactly, more like confirmation. The last thread of family she'd been clinging to, she'd cut it herself. Daddy spoke first. Calm, measured. What's the judge's lien? Lauren exhaled. Probably denies it. We have the escrow agreement, the wire instructions, the email chain. Her affidavit contradicts hard evidence, but it buys him time. A hearing is set 2 days before the auction. If he wins the stay, the sale pauses. Months, maybe longer. Jamal's voice came through low. Then we don't let it get to the hearing. I looked at my family. No one blinked. I said it quietly. We go to the auction anyway. We bid high enough to win. If the stay comes through later, we fight it from ownership. But we don't wait. Lauren paused. That's aggressive, risky, but possible. You'd be buying with knowledge of the pending motion, clouded title. You'd have to litigate to clear it. Daddy answered for all of us. We've litigated bigger things. Do it. The hearing came and went. Judge denied the stay. Ruled that the evidence of fraudulent conveyance was compelling on its face. Keisha's affidavit was noted, but dismissed as self-serving. The auction would proceed. Darius didn't appear at the courthouse. No lawyer spoke for him. Just silence. Auction day arrived on a crisp October morning. Gray skies, light wind. The courthouse steps in Fulton County were crowded. Investors, flippers, a few curious locals. Our proxy, a middle-aged man in a plain navy suit named Robert Klein, stood near the back, phone in hand, connected to Jamal on a secure line. Jamal sat in Daddy's study. We all sat with him, watching the live feed Lauren had arranged. The auctioneer started at 10 o'clock sharp, voice booming over the speakers. Property located at 1427 Willow Creek Lane, Alpharetta. 6 bedrooms, 7 baths, 20 acres improved. Starting bid, $3,200,000. A few hands went up. Bids climbed quick. 3.4, 3.6, 3.8. Robert waited, calm, patient. At 3.95 million, the pace slowed. One more bidder dropped out. The auctioneer called for more. Going once, Robert raised his paddle. 4,200,000. A murmur rippled through the crowd. No one countered. The auctioneer scanned the steps. 4,200,000 going once, going twice. He banged the gavel. Sold to bidder number 17, Robert Klein. The feed cut. Jamal exhaled long and slow. Mama closed her eyes. Daddy placed a hand on my shoulder. I didn't move. I just let the moment sit. We owned it. Not in our names. Not yet. But the LLC we controlled now held the winning bid. Title would transfer in 60 days. Standard redemption period. Darius had no money to redeem. No way to fight. But everyone was watching the screen that morning, wondering what would happen next. Because right then, a text came through to Jamal's phone. Unknown number. One word. Congratulations. Then a photo attachment. A selfie. Darius, standing on the porch of the cabin, smiling thin, eyes tired. Under the photo, another line. You win this round, but I still have something you want back. We stared at the screen. My voice came out steady. What does he have? Jamal zoomed in on the photo. Behind Darius, on the porch table, a small black box. Velvet, the kind that holds rings. The 4-carat emerald cut he'd slipped on my finger that night on the rooftop. He still had it. And in that moment, we realized the game wasn't fully over. He wasn't just holding a ring. He was holding one last piece of leverage. One last play. Keep listening, because the next part is when he tried to use it, and when we finally closed the door for good. The final offer and the ring that came back. The photo of Darius on that cabin porch stayed on Jamal's phone for days. We didn't delete it. We didn't zoom in obsessively. We just let it sit there, like a reminder that even cornered people still have teeth. 2 days after the auction win, the text came through again. Same unknown number. No greeting, just straight to business. I want to talk. One time. Neutral place. You get the ring back. I disappear for good. No more games. No lawyers. No headlines. Jamal read it out loud in the family room. Fireplace crackling low. Rain tapping the windows. Mama folded her arms. Daddy leaned back in his chair. I sat on the rug, legs crossed, staring at the flames. Mama spoke first. Soft, firm. He's trying to buy peace with something that was already yours. I looked up at her. I know, but I want it back. Not for the diamond, for closure. I don't want any piece of him still out there holding something that belongs to me. Daddy nodded slowly. We meet on our terms. Public. Safe. With eyes on him. Jamal typed the reply. One line. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Pond City Market. Food hall courtyard. Open space. Bring the ring. Come alone. The reply came in under a minute. See you then. We didn't sleep much that night. Not from fear. From anticipation. The kind that sits heavy in your chest, like wet clothes. The next day I dressed simple. Black jeans, white sweater, flat shoes, no jewelry, no makeup beyond lip balm. I wanted to look like myself again. Not the bride he left behind. Not the woman he tried to break. Jamal drove. Daddy rode shotgun. Mama stayed home with Clarence on standby. We parked 2 blocks away. Walked the rest. Pond City Market was busy. Weekend crowd, families, tourists, laughter echoing off the old brick walls. We found a table near the center of the courtyard. Open sightlines. Jamal sat one table over, phone out like he was scrolling. Daddy sat farther back, reading a newspaper he wasn't reading. I sat alone, hands folded on the table, waiting. He appeared at 2:03, hoodie up, sunglasses on, hands in pockets. He looked smaller than I remembered, thinner. The confidence that used to fill a room had leaked out somewhere along the way. He stopped a few feet from the table, didn't sit, just stood there. Maya. I looked up. No smile, No anger, just calm. Darius. He reached into his pocket, pulled out the black velvet box, set it on the table between us. Didn't open it. I didn't come to fight, he said, voice low, rough. I came to end this. You won. The house, the money, everything. I'm leaving the country tonight. Lisbon, alone. You'll never hear from me again. I didn't touch the box. I just looked at him. Why now? I asked. Why give it back? He exhaled, looked away for a second, toward the crowd, the kids running, the normal life happening all around us. Because I'm tired, he said. Tired of running. Tired of looking over my shoulder. And because I know what I did. I know I broke something that can't be fixed. The ring, it's yours. Always was. I kept it thinking it was the last thing I had left of you. But it's not mine to keep anymore. Silence stretched between us, not awkward, just full. I finally opened the box. The emerald-cut diamond caught the afternoon light. Still beautiful, still cold. I closed it again, slid it toward me. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. Not for forgiveness, for the end of the chapter. Turned to leave, then stopped, looked back. I'm sorry, Maya, for all of it. For the lies, for Keisha, for thinking I could take from people who gave me everything and still walk away clean. I didn't respond right away. I just held his gaze. Then I said the only thing left. Go, and don't come back. He walked away, disappeared into the crowd. I watched until I couldn't see him anymore. Jamal came over first, sat beside me, didn't say anything, just put his arm around my shoulders. Daddy joined us a minute later. We sat there for a long time, watching people live their lives. I opened the box one more time, looked at the ring. Then I stood up, walked to the edge of the courtyard where there was a small fountain. Kids tossing coins, wishes floating on the water. I took the ring out, held it between my fingers, then let it drop into the deepest part of the fountain. Watched it sink. Gone. I didn't cry. I just breathed. Back at the table, Jamal asked quietly, "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, I think I am." We drove home in silence, not heavy silence, the kind that comes after a long storm passes. That night we gathered in the family room. Mama had made tea, real tea, chamomile and honey. We told her everything. She listened. When I finished, she reached for my hand. "You didn't just take back a house, baby. You took back your peace, your dignity, your future." I squeezed her hand. I didn't do it alone. Daddy looked around at all of us, his voice steady. "The title transfers in 30 days. We'll sell the property. Proceeds go straight back to the foundation. Every dollar. More scholarships. More kids getting their chance. That's what he tried to steal. That's what we protect." Jamal raised his mug. Quiet toast. To moving forward. We clinked. Soft. Real. Later that night I walked out to the back patio alone. String lights still on. Pool still rippling. I sat on the same bench where Darius had promised forever. I didn't feel empty. I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. The pain hadn't vanished. It probably never would completely, but it had changed shape, become something smaller, something I could carry without bending. I looked up at the stars, whispered to no one in particular, "I'm still here." And for the first time in months, I believed it. But the story didn't end with a fountain or a ring. It ended with something quieter, something stronger. Keep listening. The final part is where we found the real victory, and where the lesson settled in for good. What we built after the dust settled, ending reflection, quiet strength, and the real victory. Months passed like pages turning in a book you didn't expect to finish. The title to the Alpharetta house transferred clean. No last-minute appeals, no dramatic courtroom scenes, just paperwork, signatures, a quiet closing in a small conference room downtown. Lauren Hayes handed us the deed folder with a small nod. "That's it," she said. "All yours." We didn't keep it, didn't move in, didn't even walk through the empty rooms. We listed it with a trusted broker the very next week, staged simply, priced fair, sold in 17 days, cash buyer, no contingencies. The check cleared 30 days later, $7.8 million after fees and closing costs. Every cent went straight back into the Thompson Family Foundation. We didn't announce it, no press release, no victory post. We just added 17 new full-ride scholarships that fall. Kids from neighborhoods we grew up hearing stories about. First-generation dreamers. A few wrote thank you letters. One girl said in hers, "I never thought college was for someone like me. Now I'm packing for Spelman in August." That letter sits in a frame on my desk now, next to a photo of Granddaddy Elijah, smiling in his Sunday suit, the one he wore to open the first funeral home. I look at it every morning. Reminds me why we fought so hard. Keisha, she faded from our lives the way smoke disappears. No big goodbye. No dramatic apology tour. She moved to Charlotte 6 months later, took a job in marketing, kept her head down. Jamal saw her once, at a cousin's wedding 2 years after everything. She stayed on the far side of the room. Didn't approach. He didn't either. Some bridges burn clean. Some you just let the wind carry the ashes away. Darius. True to his word. He left the country. Lisbon, like he said. We heard through a mutual business contact, nothing direct, that he's working freelance consulting now. Small gigs. No more private equity shine. No more tall buildings. No more promises he can't keep. I don't check on him. Don't need to. He's living the life he chose. Smaller, quieter. That's enough. As for me, I kept running, not to escape anymore, just because the rhythm felt good. Feet on pavement, breath steady, heart strong. I started mentoring at the foundation, one-on-one with the scholarship kids, helping them fill out applications, practice interviews, telling them the truth. Life will try to knock you down sometimes. It might even succeed for a minute. But you don't stay down. You stand up, you rebuild, and you make sure the next person behind you has a hand to hold. I dated again eventually. Not rushed, not desperate. A kind man named Marcus. Not my father, who works in architecture. He designs community centers, affordable housing, places where people can start over. We take long walks, talk about books, dreams, the future. He knows my story, all of it. Never once looked at me like I was broken, just like I was someone who'd walked through fire and came out the other side warmer. One evening last summer, we sat on the back patio. Same string lights, same rippling pool. He reached for my hand, asked quietly, "You ever think about getting married again someday?" I looked out at the water, thought about the church, the white gown, the empty altar, the rings sinking into the fountain. Then I looked back at him. "Maybe," I said. "But if it happens, it won't be about a dowry, or a big check, or proving anything to anyone. It'll be about two people who choose each other, every day, no matter what." He smiled, squeezed my hand. "That sounds right." We sat there until the stars came out. No rush, no promises whispered too soon. Just peace. Real peace. Looking back now, the pain of that wedding day didn't disappear. It softened, became part of the story. The scar tissue that makes the heart tougher, more open, more careful, more grateful. I learned something in those quiet months after, something I carry with me every day. When someone takes from you, your trust, your time, your dreams, your money, you don't have to scream to get it back. You don't have to destroy them to heal. Sometimes the strongest revenge is living well, protecting what matters, lifting others higher than you were ever lifted, turning what was meant to break you into the foundation for something unbreakable. Our family didn't just survive Darius. We became stronger because of him, because we chose not to let hate win. We chose justice, quiet, steady, complete, and in the end, that was the real victory. If you've stayed with me this long, through the hurt, the planning, the waiting, the winning, thank you. Truly, stories like this aren't easy to tell, but they're important. They remind us we're not alone when life turns sharp. This was my true story. Every quiet moment, every hard choice, every small win. If it touched you, if it made you hold your people a little closer tonight, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more real stories, the kind that don't always end perfect, but always end honest. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep standing, keep building, keep believing. You're stronger than you know.